Hi everyone and welcome back to the Power of a Hobby. My name's Dom Fenton, the Activity Connector, and it's episode number 2. So I am delighted to introduce Becky Tree. Hi Becky, how are you today?
I'm really good, thank you.
Good, thank you for coming on the show. Just to let viewers know, we've never met. It's the first time that we've met, literally about 5 minutes ago, and there's already bits in common already about some of the stuff that we do, and that's great. So I've warned Becky, everybody, about what the questions are and what it's going to be, but it's just going to be 15 minutes, 20 minutes of chat, and hey, let's pick up some messages. So, Becky, do you want to tell everyone who you are and what you do?
So my name's Becky and I live in North London with my family, and I am a teacher, and I've been teaching for the best part of 2 decades. It can be quite a stressful job. My family can be quite stressful. So yeah, my hobby is quite important.
Fantastic. And this is the thing, everybody. I work with schools, I work with children and young people. And then we have a chat with Becky, and she's a teacher. Who knew? It's amazing. And there's connections already. So the most important question that I ask everyone who comes on the show, what does the power of a hobby mean to you?
So to me, hobbies are something that I've struggled to find for a long time. There's lots of things that I like to do, but that's the bit of my CV I would always struggle with. What are your hobbies? And I would always just put reading, swimming, and going for walks. And the last one was a bit of a lie, to be honest, because I'm a bit lazy like that. I do like swimming, but I don't do it very often because I have to dry my hair afterwards. I love reading, but I never really get the chance. It's something that I don't get the chance to sit and focus on. So for me, I've been sort of searching for a hobby. And I think now that I've found one, I realize that the power of a hobby is that it can just distract you enough from things that are bothering you and give you something to focus on. And in the case of what I like to do, produce something and just feel like I've accomplished something. It gives me a sense of accomplishment, a sense of control, and it gives me a feeling of joy as well. Just kind of quite transcendental. The power of a hobby. That's what I would describe it as.
Love that. And that's the thing. And I think actually what people will find out from today and from other shows that we do, actually a hobby can be almost anything. And it's up to, for each individual person, that can mean something very, very different. And there's lots of reasons why we do them. There's lots of reasons. And sometimes, would you know, if you now imagine the hobby that we've spoken about, would you have imagined as a child you would have fallen into this hobby?
No, not really. It's something that my mum always did, and I would watch her growing up and think, oh, that's really clever. Can't do that. And I would try. I did try a few times. She tried to teach me a few times. Didn't go very well. Turns out I'm not good at listening to my mum. And yeah, it's not something that I thought really ever interested me. And then a few years ago at school, a colleague and my head at the time was sitting and doing it, and I just kind of thought, oh, I'll give it another go. Got a bit of advice from my mum, and yeah, it's not something that I sort of ever sought to do or especially wanted to. And then when I started doing it, just kind of really became passionate about doing it.
Love that. And that's the thing. And I think actually hobbies, they're there for certain reasons, but actually what you then find, the real hobbies that you have are ones that you become very, very passionate about.
Yes, yeah. And I think it's something that it drives my husband mad, my hobby, because he's always telling me off for all the stuff I leave around the house. But it's something that I kind of find myself thinking about, okay, what could I do? And You know, if it's someone's special occasion or birthday coming up, and thinking, what can I make? And it's something that you kind of, it just kind of becomes part of your life, which sounds a bit sad, really. I think
No,
in
but
some ways.
I completely agree with you, because I think it's part of who we are. And
Yes.
I think actually, and actually, I think if you find the right hobby, and for me, it's finding that right hobby, it becomes part of your identity. It becomes of who you are. And actually, apart from my family and my friends and almost actual people, it's, for me, it becomes one of the most important things you have in your life.
Definitely.
You
And
know,
it's something you can talk to other people about. It gives you kind of, you know, there's lots of groups online, aren't there, for every hobby that you find, and you think, oh, okay, there's other people that like to do this, and it's something that you can kind of, you feel like you're contributing something, but you're also getting from others as well. And
yeah,
and it has also been a bonding thing with my mum, because we both do it now, and I think she feels really pleased that someone, you know, there's 6 of us kids and I'm the only one that, that does the same thing, that is following in her footsteps, and she feels like she's got things to pass on to me. And I really like it because, you know, I haven't seen my mum for over a year now, but it's something I can bond over, and I can sort of show her things and, you know, impress her. I mean, even in, you know, at almost 40, I really, you know, I want to please my mum. I want her to say well done, and it's nice that I can show her things and say, look what I've done, mummy. Can I have a gold star?
yeah, a little blue Peter badge for you. There you go.
Exactly.
There are other badges available, everybody. Just so you know, there are other badges available. So we've dropped some hints.
Yes.
You know, so we've dropped some hints, so people might have been trying to guess what the hobby is. So
Yeah, they might be disappointed when they
no,
find.
not at all. We've already spoken about this. So, Becky, how do you switch off, and what is your hobby?
So I switch off with some hooks and some yarn. My hobby is crochet.
Love that. Love that. I know a lot of people who do it, so it's fab. So, how did you find crochet? You've spoken a little bit briefly about it. What made you get to that point and go, actually, I need to find something. I need to switch off.
There were lots of people at work looking for sort of something to connect over. We were going through a bit of a challenging time, and as all schools do.
Yeah.
And it was just something that some people were doing, and I thought it'd be nice if we could sit and kind of do this in the staff room together. And it was handy having someone there who could show me what to do and kind of pick up on mistakes I was making. And I just watching other people do it, and I thought that just looks really difficult, but really satisfying, I guess. I thought I'd give it a go. Gave it a go, and wasn't as rubbish as I thought I would be, and as I remembered I had been in the past. And then I was able to sort of get my mum to help me. I watched some YouTube videos, and I just took to it really quickly. I made my daughter a scarf, which I was immensely proud of. It didn't quite have enough yarn, so it didn't really work as a scarf, but you know, the thought was there. I made one for my son, and then my sister was pregnant, so I decided I wanted to make a baby blanket for her, and that became my kind of little project. Just about managed it by the time he was born. I think, it was, that's what led me into starting it. And I also had it in my mind, I wanted a special poorly blanket. So if I was feeling poorly, anyone in my family was poorly, I was going to make this blanket. And I was quite ambitious and decided to make it big enough to cover a king size bed. So I finished
Impressive.
Thanks, yeah. Started it 4 years ago and finished it after 3 of those years. Yeah, so I think it was something that it gave me something to connect with people at work over. And also it kept my hands busy. I'm the sort of person who, I do find it difficult to switch off. I find it incredibly challenging to be able to stop my mind. Even if I'm getting a massage or something, I'm not relaxing, I can't switch off. I just think, okay, so after this I've got to go and get the shopping, and then I've got to, and where did I park the car? But crochet, I can sit and I'm doing something with my hands, and I can watch TV or listen to a podcast or an audiobook, and because I've got 2 things going on, that switches me off. If it were just the one, I'd find it more challenging, but yeah, that sort of combined with doing something else just zones me out.
Yeah, and I think it is, and I think sometimes obviously, you know, you've got a family, you're a teacher, and actually we all know that teachers don't stop. Whatever's put out in the press, teachers don't stop.
Nope.
And I think it is that way of trying to switch off.
Yeah.
How important was it to connect with other people with it? Because actually we can go into hobbies where it is just us. But actually generally we need connection. As human beings, we crave that connection, be part of something bigger than ourselves, be part of a bigger group. How, you know, was that a big part of it?
Yeah, definitely. And I think being able to sort of sit and have something to chat about at work, but sort of you're not having to sort of sit staring at each other having a conversation, you're incidentally chatting, that was really beneficial. And being able to sort of bond with other people online was really good. I made a few bits, haven't done it for a while, I need to get back to it, but there are some great charities where you can sort of crochet things for you know, newborn premature babies and things like that, and I did a few bits like that, and I found that quite satisfying. I wasn't tremendously great at it and
Yeah,
really gave me something to focus on, and it has got me through some really difficult times, not just in terms of kind of distracting me at home, but in giving me something to talk to other people about, show to other people, ask for advice over as well, because that's always something that people really enjoy. And I really like being able to ask my mum for things and then sort of getting her feedback on things. And I know that she likes the fact that she can offer that to me. I think for her being my mum, you know, mum of 6 kids who are all grown up now, it's nice to have someone come back to you asking for advice still.
I think we're always children, aren't we?
Yeah,
we're always, even as adults, we're children to our mum and dad and to people. And actually there is that connection that we're always, as much as we don't necessarily always need to, there are times where we're going to need that help, we're going to need that advice, and actually it gives them that warm glow to actually feel we're still needed.
Yes, definitely. Yeah, because
I think as adults we're like that probably with our children.
My daughter is a tween now, so I've started to realize that.
What are they into? Anything, you know? Have you managed to get them? Have they sort of followed in any steps in terms
well,
of that?
Well, it turns out, even though I pride myself on being a great teacher, but I'm not a great teacher of crochet. I tried to teach a couple of colleagues and it didn't go very well. So in the end, I just said, go and watch some YouTube videos.
There's the clip. Yeah. Go and have a go.
So I tried to teach my daughter, and that didn't go very well either. So I'm not sure if it's something that she'll ever be interested in, and I imagine probably not my son, but maybe in the future, maybe they'll come into it as adults like I did.
But that's the thing, and I think for me, this is a really important story, because actually what it shows is I don't actually think you ever grow out of a hobby. And actually all the seeds that play, you know, with the people who are going to be listening to this, there will be a lot of parents. Yes. And there'll be, you know, I'm a single dad, I've got 2 daughters, and I'm very good at talking to other parents about what they should do, or give them advice on how to help their children find a hobby and those sort of things. Yeah. But actually I'm, you know, my two girls there's only 18 months between them, but they're very, very different. One is very energetic, one wants to be involved in everything, whereas my eldest, you know, they're both at primary school. She's just very laid back and very chilled, and I'll just sit and watch TV all day, or I'll do this. You know, that for me, that's just like, you know, I'm active, I've been involved in sport all my life. I've been involved in singing and all these other things, but you have to then remember that actually everyone's different. Yes,
and I think they really appreciate when I make them things. So just before Christmas, I made myself some slippers, and then I had to make slippers for the whole family because they all liked them.
Well, of course, so, of course.
I'm very grateful for the outcome, but I don't think they're especially interested. And my husband is driven mad by bits of yarn and crochet hooks just scattered all around the house. I actually spent a few weeks ago a whole weekend just untangling balls of yarn that I'd just been shoving all together and forgotten about. And oh my goodness, it took a really long time. But
you open that drawer, you open the cupboard, and you just go.
It was like Pandora's yarn box. It was just an explosion. And there were things kind of woven into. I don't even know how they got in there, like old cables and ends, and oh gosh, it took a while.
But I think that's it. And I think actually it is how things get mixed up with that sort of stuff. Because I've seen that with balls of yarn and things, and all of a sudden some of the stuff that's stuck in it, you're like, how on earth did that happen?
It was like treasure hunt. It was amazing. It's like, oh.
Yeah. Well, I like playing that with my girls, so I'll try and hide some stuff and they'll go and find it. But the problem is when they go around my house, they'll find other stuff, and I'm like going, where did that? That's where that went to. That's where I didn't know I put it there. It's amazing.
Sounds like my
handbag. Yeah, my whole house is like your handbag. So, have you got any big projects? You know, I know you were talking about sort of trying to get back into it again and doing a little bit more. Obviously, now with schools back, you know, with schools going back as well, and probably limited time. Have you got any other sort of? Are you looking at what's your next thing to make?
At the moment, I'm trying to use up all my old odds and ends of balls of yarn to just make a granny squares blanket, which is where you make individual squares, and you can do patterns, but I'm just doing solid colors for each square, and then I'm going to stitch them all together to make a massive blanket. So I've not done that before. I learned sort of just doing horizontal back and forth crochet, and then I sort of taught myself I think it's called origami, something. I'm not very good at the names of things, but where you sort of do 3D stuff. I've done a bit of that, and I can do hats and slippers and things like that. So this is the first time I've done granny squares, which I think is what a lot of people start with. But I'm only just starting to do it. Just I want to use up this yarn and just have it out the house so I can go and buy more, but don't tell my husband.
Yeah. This won't go out anywhere. It's fine.
No one will know.
It's our conversation. That's it.
Just between you and me.
Yeah. And whoever listens to it will be fine. So yeah, just please, everyone, just don't tell Becky's husband.
Yeah, it'll be fine.
It'll be fine. Do you ever try and get the children at school to do any of this, or because you know?
Well, I'm mainly in the early years, and at the moment, especially because of restrictions, I'm only with my year group. So no, I haven't so far, but it is something that has been done at the school before, so it might be something that I look into in the future. But as I say, I'm not tremendously great at teaching it.
Yeah, I think some of it though as well. It's amazing when children see their teachers and staff able to accomplish other things, they see them in a completely different light.
I think that's true, and I think also children just learn a lot from seeing things being done, and I'm always amazed, especially in early years, that they will watch me do something, and might be once, might be twice, might be sort of all year, and then they just suddenly will do it themselves, and you think, I don't remember actively teaching you that, but you've just noticed what I do. And children do pick up things a lot quicker than we often give them credit for. So yeah, possibly
therapeutic,
absolutely.
It could be, especially at the moment with the fact that I think there's such a big cry out at the moment around mental health, and especially with children through the pandemic and everything else. It might, it's probably a nice way just to get them to calm down and think in the present time and everything else, and trying to look at that, because I know that as you say, it's being able to switch off and actually just be present in that moment, trying to do that one thing.
Yeah, definitely.
Great. So last question for you. So I talk a lot about I have a lot of people come to me and go, oh, I don't have a hobby. Oh, I don't know how to think of a hobby. If someone came to you and said, look, I'm really interested in having a hobby, but I wouldn't know where to start, or I wouldn't know what to do, what would you say to them?
I suppose I'd say think about what you're looking to get out of it. for instance, if you're looking for something where you can create something, that's a really good starting point, because you could go and walk around a hobby shop and get loads of ideas just from walking around. I'd say look at YouTube videos online and just see if it's something that you think might be possible. And also just think about the sort of person you are. Are you the sort of person that's going to want to get sweaty and you know, go out and bundle people on the rugby field? That's not me. Are you the sort of person that wants to, you know, get outside every day and you know, ride on your bike or something? If you're a sort of, is it something you're looking that's physical, or is it something more of a mental, or both? What's your budget? You know, you can do crochet really, really cheaply. You know, pound shops sell yarn, and you can get it in charity shops, and hooks are really, really cheap and freely available, but it can be quite addictive. So you think, yeah, nice and cheap, and then next thing you know, you've got a massive cupboard full of yarn that's all tangled together with phone wires in. Yeah, I guess that's the consideration too. But I think give it a go is the main thing I'd say. Just try some things and find out what your friends do, find out what colleagues do, and if ask them about it, because you might pick up something that you would never have thought of.
I love that. And actually that fits really nicely, because, you know, I've been talking about doing this podcast for however long. And I said to some of my network, I went, 2021 is the year that I'm just going to go and do it.
Yeah.
And actually, I think a lot of the time we can think about things too much. And actually, it's yeah, and I think we all do. I think we've all had that moment. You know, I sat on this for probably about 6-7 months. That going, is it something that people really hobbies? Is it really something that people have? Is it something that people want to hear about? Well, actually, you know, we actually go live with the first one next week. So we go live with the very first one on the 15th of March. But actually, I'm having so many people contact me and go, I love hearing you talk about hobbies. I can't wait to hear about the podcast, because actually it just inspires other people.
And I think when you're passionate about something, you can't help but spread positivity around you. I know that part of the reason I got my job is, you know, because I am incredibly passionate about early years and you know, having an impact and an input, and I love it. I could bore you for hours about, you know, if you did a podcast about my job, I would go on and on and on. And I think but you cannot help but be inspired by other people who are passionate. And I consider myself very lucky that I've been around a lot of people who are passionate about the same things that I like. And it's really lovely to be able to share passions with people. And I'm talking about the sort of passions I could share with my mum, nothing dodgy. But you know, it's nice
just to get that in quick. Just to get that in quick.
But it's really nice to be able to sort of share things that you love. And it's like that moment when you meet someone and you think, oh, you love that too. Oh my goodness. And you could start sort of talking. It's a really lovely thing to have shared joy and shared passion with people.
Brilliant. What a way to end. What a fantastic way to end. There you go, people. Episode 2 done. Thank you very, very much, Becky.
Thank you. It's been a pleasure.
It's been amazing. So everybody, just remember to comment, like, and share. This has been Dom Fenton, the Activity Connector, and I'll see you in the next episode. Take care. Bye.